And the little subheading under that is changing fractions and decimals, part 2. Changing fractions / decimals to percents, part 2. And as with most things in math, sometimes there's an easy way, and then other times the easy way doesn't work, and you have to kind of do it the hard way. For example, let's say you have the fraction 1/4. To change 1/4 to a percent, the easy way, the quickest way is to do what, Sam? Percent means out of 100. So you'd make this a fraction out of 100 because 1/4 goes to 100 really easily. What goes on top there? 1/4 is how many hundreds? Multiply by 25, right? 25 hundredths. So this is 25%. And that's all well and good. Okay, but the fraction, let me see what they give us. 1/3. While you might know what it is, to figure it out mathematically, this doesn't work because 3 doesn't go evenly into 100. So you have to have a plan B. Okay. Same thing with, 0.75. 0.75 as a decimal is what is a percent and why? Well, it's as a fraction it's 75 over 100. So what is it as a percent? 75%. And that's all well and good. And that's the way, if it's an easy one, you can do it that way. But if I gave you this 1.3 and I asked you to change that to a percent, not quite so easy. So we need to have a plan B. And here is our plan B. You can write this down. If you cannot do these two things like we did over here, there's one surefire way to change any number to a percent. Okay, and if you can do it this way, do it this way by all means. But if it's this and this and you can't figure out how to do it, right here, write this down. To change anything, which would be a number, to a percent, comma, multiplied by 100%, which looks like 106%. And I'll tell you what we mean by that. Let's look at this one right here. So if you have 1/3, and you probably know what 1/3 is, but that's immaterial. And if I gave you 1/6, let's do 1/6 because you probably don't know what 1/6 is. 1/6 as a percent. Anybody know what it is? Good. So we do that. You can always change this to a percent by multiplying it by 100%. Now I'd make 100 a fraction by doing that. What would I get if I multiplied that out? Well, you end up with 100 over 6. And unfortunately, that's why this is your last result, because now you still have to do some work, because what do I have to do? I have to divide my 6 into 100. And it's not going to be pretty, that's why it's not easy to do. 6 goes into 10 once. 6 goes into 40 6 times, that's 36. And I ran out of numbers here, so I make a fraction out of this. It becomes 16 4/6, which is 2/3, and that's my percent. It's 16 2/3%. And again, that's why if you can do it the other way, you want to do it the other way, but if you're left with no other resort, sometimes you got to go the hard way. And that's what this would be. Now fortunately with decimals, it's really not that bad. Where was my 1.2 that I lose? I lost it here somewhere. Where is it?
1.3.
Oh, there it is. Okay. To change this to a percent, it's just this. 1.3 times 100%. And this is mental math, because anytime you multiply decimals by hundreds, it's really easy. All you have to do is do what? Move the decimal 2 places over. So this is the same thing as 130%. Decimals are always easy to change to percents because all you have to do is move the decimal 2 places. Some fractions, not so much. How about this? Let me give you one. What about 5/12ths? What is 5/12ths as a percent? Five twelfths to a percent. I'll give you a chance to do that. Don't make me do all the work. 5/12ths as a percent. Again, it won't be pretty. If you're looking for like a super easy, like, oh, it's 17. It's going to be some sort of a mixed number sort of thing because she don't work out easily. Answers are out there?
Yeah.
Lilia Paetzel, what did you come up with?
41.
Let's check and see. 41 2/3. I don't know because I really don't know what this is, but it would look like this. 5/12ths times 100% over 1, which means you have 500 divided by 12. Whatever that answer is, your percent. So if I do 500 divided by 12, I do get 4. So far, so good. That's 48. 20 goes in there one time, which is 12. I get an 8/12ths left over. Divide them both by 4. Yep, looks like 2/3. 41 2/3%. By the way, how would you know if your answer is at least relatively close? Sam?
It has to be under 50% because half of 12 is 6.
Yep, and it's kind of close because 5/12ths is close to 6/12. Another way to do it is think about this. If you think about how many times will 12 go into 100, about
8.
8, because 12 times 8 is 96, so the top would also have to be close to 8 times. And 5 times 8 is also close to 41 2/3. So there are some checks there. One last one. What about an improper fraction? 2 4/5. What if I'm making that a percent? 2 4/5. Well, a couple different ways, but I guess let's just do it this way. You would make it an improper fraction, which is 14/5 times 100. And this would be cross canceling would come in. Why? Because 5 goes into 100 what? 20 times. And then maybe you can do 20 times 14 in your head. I don't know. 2 times 14 is 28. Stick another 0 on there. And you end up with 280%. Another thought could have been what? 2. What's 2 as a percent?
200.
200. What's 4/5 as a percent? 80. So 200 plus 80 is 208.